Next, if you weren't there at the start, we're gonna react to China's A Strange Alternate World of Warcraft client. It's a video from 6 years ago, but it does look interesting, and I never saw it, so why not? You know, let's see it. Is that bread?
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another video for
Is that how they look? This is the undead from the China's client?
you. I got something pretty interesting for you today. We're gonna take a step into the Twilight Zone, known as the Chinese version of World of Warcraft.
There's no bones.
Basically, for those who don't know, in China, anything to do with death or anything representing it is a very taboo subject. So much so, for instance, their word for the number 4 sounds too similar to the word death, so it's generally avoided.
What?
So, this means the word death, things such as skulls, bones, undead, basically anything to do with death is strictly off the table. Surprisingly though,
Dude, they are all undead, and you're gonna tell me that anything related to death is forbidden? I mean, come on, just remove the undead from the fucking map at this point.
things such as zombies still seem to be okay, but they just can't have any bones showing. So, in regards to video games, what typically happens if these elements are common? Well, it depends on how deeply ingrained death is in the game, but generally two things happen. The game isn't released at all, or it's released, but it's heavily censored and edited until it's appropriate for the culture.
Like, what's appropriate into this if you think that China's doesn't allow death in their game? Like, this is clearly death. Like, this is just somebody who has been dead for a freaking long time, man.
Now, this may seem like a monumental undertaking, and it is. It's a huge game, and death is everywhere.
There's a Death
class
Knight
based all around it called the Death Knight, or what it's called in China, the Fade Knight.
Oh god.
When I said anything to do with death, I really meant anything. Not necessarily everything, though. Some stuff did slip through the cracks, as you'll see. So, in this video, I'd like to show you some examples of the edits and censorships, comment on them a bit, and just compare the two versions. Something I should say.
It's not that different, to be honest. I get, yeah, no, it is different. You can only die for your country, no death in video game. Totally right.
Something I should say before I begin, though, is that this is all taken from a Reddit post from a while ago by the user Vadis. He gave me permission to reference and use the images from his post, so all credit goes to him. And if you want to see the post for yourself, I'll have a link in the description. Let's start with what I already mentioned, and that's the Fade Knight. There's not much difference between them and the Death Knights. It's just the differences in the spell names, pretty much. Death Coil is renamed to Fade Coil, Death and Decay is Fade and Decay, and so on.
Oh god.
Other than that though, they're pretty much the same. Another big thing is the undead model. As you know, both the male and female undead models have some bones showing. The arms, legs, fingertips, ribcage, spine, etc. In China, all of this is a big no-no, so it was changed. These are what the models look like in their client. Obviously, much more meaty, and the more gory facial appearances are removed. It's kind of interesting, I think. I think the less decayed version actually looks pretty nice, and it would make for a good optional selection on the US servers.
Yeah, it
As
does
you can
look
see,
good.
the spine no longer.
I think you can choose that now in retail. If you want to look like that in retail, I think now you can. Maybe 6 years ago you weren't able to do it.
And it would make for a good optional selection on the US servers. As you can see, the spine no longer shows through the armor, which I think makes more sense. I never understood why the spine protrudes out of their clothing, like with what we have on live servers. As for other censorships, it's what you would expect. Skulls, bones, etc. The Abomination model, of course, wouldn't do, so they gave him a beer belly. Luckily, though, they kept his extra appendage. Here you can see an edited skeleton mage.
It's not that bad, to be honest.
Here you can see an edited skeleton.
It's nice. I think I even prefer this one. It's actually cool. He got like a floating head of whatever it is.
Skeleton mage.
Looks good.
Here's an edited Saffron from Xelreth.
Okay, this one is clearly better though.
A less bony, more bulky undead troll.
Ooh, this one looks weird, man. Okay.
And the bones of Agonar in the Hellfire Peninsula were also altered.
What is this? What?
And the bones of Agonar.
You don't fool anyone. This is clearly bones. I don't care that you altered them. It's fucking bones. Just okay.
Agonar in the Hellfire
You don't
Peninsula
fool anyone.
They
just don't look like bone anymore.
And the room of upside down sinners in the Karazhan crypts had
the
corpses removed.
Okay.
And the list goes on and on. By all means, check out that link in the description
if
you want a full account, because there's a lot of changes, as you can imagine. So the
armor looks good. What is this? Like a piece of bread?
things they censor make sense, but what they're replaced with doesn't always make sense.
No.
And that brings me to the next set of screenshots that I'll call the breadening.
Oh
More
god.
abundant than anything
It's really
is all
bread.
of the ground clutter. Through many dungeons or certain leveling zones, there'll be some bones or corpses strewn about, so this obviously can't stand. What objects could they use to replace them? Crates, barrels, piles of junk? Well, how about bread? That's right. What better alternative do you have to replace this chunk of unknown meat on the floor of this cultist crypt? Why, bread, of course. I don't know about you guys, but this is a perfect fit. Chunks of meat, bread, decaying corpses.
At least make the bread moldy or something, right? If you make the bread moldy, at least it makes sense. Like it's just like a piece of bread in the
bread.
It's so funny, man.
The gingerbread man spreading joy with his breadness.
There's no way they did this. It looks so fucking stupid, man.
That's right. Skullomance is under renovations. It's now a bakery, and they're really aggressive with their sales pitch.
Oh god.
I strongly suspect the reasoning for this is that throughout the game, there are lots of tables that have meat and animal carcasses on them. The people in charge of censoring all of this stuff started with that, and appropriately so, changed all of these meat items into bread.
Gotta do the bread factory, man.
But a problem that arose is that these tables are everywhere, so to save time, they changed all of the items in the entire game across the board.
No way, man.
And the problem with that is that these chunks of meat that are on these tables are the same ones on the floors of Skullomance and who the heck knows where else.
No.
They probably found out about it after the fact and just sort of went with it. And so we learned the true purpose of the Cult of the Damned, and that's to feed all of Azeroth with their delicious dough-based sustenance.
So, to be honest, I think what happened is that every single piece of meat that you have in Stratholme, or probably like many places in the world, they all use the same exact image in their server. So when they replace that image for bread, maybe they did not even look in this place, by the way. They probably, what they did to censor the game is they probably look at a list of every single model in the game, and they reviewed it one by one. And when something did not make any sense for them, they decided to change it. So probably when they sent, they were sent like the piece of meat, they said, oh, you know, it can be bread, no problem. But they did not thought about, like, you know, this guy will be holding bread instead of meat and whatever. So it's probably because of that they don't like change every single item one by one, you know. So it's this exact model is probably there like 50,000 times in the game.
Production is at full speed, and they're speccing into pastry soon, so prepare yourselves.
Oh, wow.
Other strange anomalies are statues replaced with sacks of grain.
Oh, that looks weird, though.
Talking skulls are now talking grain sacks, and all sorts of stuff. Another recurring...
There's still bones!
Talking skulls are...
I mean, at this point, don't even care about fucking changing it, man. There are still bones. I mean...
are now talking grain sacks, and all sorts of stuff.
It's the same thing.
Another recurring thing is the straw man. This replaced the many skeletons in the game, and they're all over the place. People really don't like these strawmen because it's a genocide.
Oh god.
But at least they respect them enough to put them in their own crypts and coffins.
Oh, no, man.
And here you can see how little strawmen are made. And this unfortunate soul seems to be the subject of some sort of experiment. Now, that's the last straw in my book. I can't bear to watch anymore.
Oh, man.
Some stuff did slip through the cracks though, which is understandable considering just how many skulls and whatnot are in the game. The Lich King's armor remains intact, as well as Sylvanas'.
Okay.
And various skulls and bones did make it through. It all seems kind of rushed, and some weird choices were made. So, this corpse is fine, but this lantern isn't? I guess it really depends if there are any visible bones or not.
They corrected that weird lamp, but they did not correct like the Lich King, like the most iconic character. Come on. I know you can do better than this,
that's about all I have to show you.
I know you
can. Like I said, if you want to see a more thorough accounting of everything, check out that link because there's a lot I left out. And once again, credit and thanks goes out to the Reddit user Vadis for digging this stuff up.
Okay.
That's about all I have to say though. I'm gonna go play my Fade Night. I hope you found the video interesting. Like it if you liked it, and thanks for watching.
Do we start calling it like this? Is the FK? The Fade Night instead of the DK? To be honest, it's interesting to how they changed the game, because I feel like it does absolutely nothing. When they changed the game, I didn't know I wasn't subbed to this guy, bro. It doesn't change anything. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone in China knows they are supposed to be bone. It is supposed to be beat. It is supposed to be death. So, like, no matter how you call it, they know what it is. Like I don't feel like they change anything. Like if they don't want this stuff in the game, I think they should probably just ban the game at this point. Like it's not the kind of game that you can alter and just like keep most of the things in the game, alter a little bit of all the artistic stuff, and just think that everyone is going to be like, oh, this game is now okay to be played by like Chinese people. Like I'm pretty sure they should have banned this game at this point.